Lesson 5, homework assignment number 2, cultural coding. Quick review, as usual. Number 1, first of all, Lesson 1, we talked about topic sentences. The big picture will come from the topic sentence. Below, we're going to have details. Details are there to support your topic sentence. In lesson number 2, we talked about the Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo says they are going to say the same thing. So if you get vocabulary words that you don't really understand, take a look at your topic sentence and see and force them to say the same thing. You can't just start talking about new stuff in a paragraph or in a passage. You've got to continue on with the same thought, Scooby-Doo style. The noun and the verb is very, very important to keep track of. They will switch the noun around and the verb around. They are basically going to say the same thing throughout the passage. Lesson number 3, we talked about the good stinky rule. The author has a hidden agenda. That hidden agenda is called a topic sentence. That topic sentence is a personal opinion, and with a personal opinion, there's going to be a flavor or a tone. Topic sentences may be plus or minus depending on the subject matter, and the details are going to have to emulate that in here. If the topic sentence is positive, the details most of the time are going to be positive unless they're making a counter argument. Follow the train of thought and follow what the author is trying to do. It's going to be more interesting, and also you're going to be more engaged and remember more. In the next lesson, we talked about the author's timeline. Usually the author is going to give you a continuum. They'll give you background information about the subject matter, when it began, old school style. Then it will move progressively more and more to the present day, and they might even talk about the future. Keep in mind and follow the train of thought. Once you see the author is in background information, try and predict where the author is going to go. They're going to give you more updated information. When you see something, you go, oh, I got it. That's a little bit more information. That's more updated. Here is a prediction of what's going to happen in the future and so forth. Keep yourself trying to predict. It's going to keep you engaged, and like I said before, it's going to keep you interested. You'll remember more when you are interested. Then we got into lesson number 5, cultural coding. Cultural coding says to keep us interested, what we want to do is pull information from the environment. We have learned things throughout our life: school, TV, YouTube, family vacations, mom, dad, grandpa, walking around in the mall. We have learned certain things. And so take that information that we've learned and try and apply it to make it more interesting in this passage. Hey, I know something about that. Elegant animals. Ooh, an elegant animal. Maybe they're talking about some small little toy lapdog that's sitting on some rich lady's lap and so forth. So think about things and try and apply what you know about the subject to things you've learned before. Let's go ahead and take a look at this passage. First of all, we will start with topic sentence. The topic sentence over here, underneath the title, we talked about elegant animals. It says, elephants do not usually dress up, but some clothing designers thought it would be cool to make them more fashionable. So elegant animals. The elegant animals they're going to talk about are elephants, and we have fashion designers that are going to dress them up. The whole passage is going to have to talk about elephants getting dressed up by these designers who are probably going to make clothes for them. We can use cultural coding and try and predict that. See what I just did? Over here it says designers made oversized clothes. Why are they oversized? Because that's a Scooby-Doo for elephant. An elephant wears oversized clothes. Going to the next paragraph, it says gigantic earrings. Gigantic, you can assume earrings that an elephant would wear. So what do you think about the word gigantic? Probably big. Going over here, the designers had a scary stepladder. Scary stepladder. Why? Because the elephant is big. We say the same thing over and over and over. We just switch the words around. See how I'm able to predict things using cultural coding and Scooby-Doo. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next detail. When it was all ready, photographer came in from a fashion magazine. Fashion magazine is the same thing as elegant, and that relates back to fashionable and fashion designers. We're saying the same thing because they're designing for magazines. We look at the last paragraph, and it says they donated the money to the Serengeti Plain in Africa. This is the home of elephants. Bam, there you have it. That's a quick overview of our passage. Let's jump on in and take a look at the questions, starting with number 1. The best title that summarizes this paragraph, well, elephants are getting dressed up by designers, and they're going in a fashion magazine. Let's take a look at the answer choices. Process of elimination, starting with letter A. Best title, outsized outfits. Outsized outfits never says anything about elephants or animals, and it doesn't say anything about the fashion designers. Cross that one out. Answer choice B says animal fashion. Animal fashion is too broad. We need elephants and getting dressed up for the magazine. Answer choice C says elephants. That's on target. Philanthropy projects. A philanthropy project is a project that you're going to volunteer, and when you volunteer, you're going to take that money and you're going to donate it. Didn't they say that down here in the bottom? They're going to donate the money to the refugees, or the refuges in the Serengeti Plain. So that is a Scooby-Doo. I like it so far. Let's go ahead and put a dot by it. We crossed out A and B, put a dot by C, because philanthropy is donating or doing some kind of a volunteer project. Answer choice D says elephants as models. Well, elephants as models is on track, but it doesn't entail what they did with the fashion magazine money. So answer choice C is the better answer choice, problem number 1. When we move on to 2 says, using the Scooby-Doo technique, what is another word for plane? You go over here and see that plane comes from the last sentence. The money from the elephants modeling was donated to the elephants' refuges in the Serengeti Plain in Africa. First of all, when you think Africa and elephant, that goes together. So what are elephants going to do in Africa? How about live? So the Serengeti Plain is going to be a place in Africa that the elephants originated from, or were born there, or there's a lot of elephants in that particular place. So when you think of elephants in Africa, what do you see using cultural coding? Cultural coding, you see like a big field with a couple of trees. You've seen National Geographic, you've seen movies, you've seen stuff in school. So another word would be desert. Plain would be like, a big open area. Put some creativity into this and try and, if you can't come up with a word or two, try and write out something here that's going to give another meaning for plain using Scooby-Doo technique. Let's move on to 3. When we scroll on down, we see the problem number 3 deals with the concept of cultural coding. So here it says, cultural coding, what potential problems could the designers have faced when working with elephant models? Well, elephants are big. Elephants deal in the zoo. Have you ever been to the zoo, and maybe at the zoo you try and take a picture of an animal, and the animal, like their eyes are like really sensitive? So maybe the elephants didn't like their picture taken because of the flash. So they got all weirded out. When they're weirded out in a photo studio, they're going to run around, they're going to knock over chairs, they're going to lift up their trunk and make that noise, or whatever the sound the elephant makes, and so forth. Maybe an elephant is not going to realize its power. It's going to knock stuff over. I feel like elephants are they're big and they're strong and they're a teeny bit on the clumsy side. So potential problems when you are photographing an elephant, anything that's going to talk about clumsiness, breaking stuff, knocking stuff over would be a good answer choice for cultural coding problem number 3. Let's take a look at problem number 4. Number 4, which best reflects the writer's attitude about elephants in the refuges in Africa? Well, if you look over here, the last sentence says, the money from the elephants that they made from modeling was donated. Donated is a positive word using the good stinky rule to several elephant refuges in the Serengeti Plain. So it looks like the author likes these refuges and it is a positive tone. So we come over here, we can go ahead and take a look at the answer choices and cross out negative answer choices using the good stinky rule. Once again, we're looking for a positive answer. A, the Elephants magazine article could increase tourists to African refuges. Tourism is something that they never really talked about. I feel like that's going in the wrong direction. So it doesn't talk about the attitude, so let's cross that one out. B, African elephants need an image boost. in the refuges. Need an image boost? That's negative. We're looking for an answer choice that's positive. We can cross that one out. C, African refuges are less common than Asian refuges and therefore need financial assistance. Asian refuges, they never mentioned anything on that at all. That is totally off topic and can be crossed out right away. Let's take a look at C, answer choice D. D says elephants need financial help in the African refuges. Need financial help. Donated money, that's a Scooby-Doo saying the same thing. 4, the correct answer is going to be answer choice D. Let's take a look at next problem, number 5. Scroll on down, pull out the red pen. From this paragraph, you can conclude, well, what can we conclude? Elephants are doing a philanthropy project to raise money to donate to refuges, and designers made some wacky clothes and they took pictures of these elephants. So what can we conclude from that? A, elephants enjoy being in fashion magazines because of the attention. Do elephants really enjoy being in a magazine? Well, I don't think elephants really realize they're in a magazine. That is incorrect. B, the clothing designers wanted to get attention. Why would you want to make clothes for a huge elephant? Why? Because it's weird. Weird is going to be wacky. Wacky, you're going to get people interested. You're going to take pictures, put it in a magazine. People are going to read about it, and they're going to go, wow, that wacky photographer there, that wacky clothes designer. So I like that one so far. Put a dot by it. C, people bought the elephant clothes. Who is going to buy elephant clothes? People that own elephants. I don't really know anybody that owns an elephant, so I don't feel like that's a good answer choice. Cross it out. D, the elephants got other gigs working as models because of the magazine article. Other gigs? I don't know how many gigs there are for elephants doing modeling, so I feel like that's kind of a dumb answer choice. We'll cross that one out. We'll go back to B. The clothing designers wanted to get attention. Well, if you're a clothing designer, you want to get attention to promote your line of clothes or your style. You get a wacky elephant, you design an elephant, people are going to read that article if it's in a magazine. B is the correct answer when we're looking for some wackiness that's going to be concluded from this passage. 5B. Let's take a look at 6. We scroll on down, we see that we're looking at a good stinky rule problem in 6. Use that good stinky rule in this paragraph and find words that are positive or negative. Once again, we come back up here and let's underline and label stuff that's either positive or negative. Elephants do not usually dress up. Well, when you don't usually dress up, I feel like that's pretty neutral. Some clothing designers thought large animals were quite fashionable. Quite fashionable, that's positive. Designers made oversized outfits. I feel like that's kind of neutral, kind of wacky. Over here it says included gigantic earrings. Gigantic earrings, you could look at that as positive or negative. Earring, I feel like, is like something decorative, so I feel like that word is fairly positive. And then we have to look at this. I don't want to give this away, so I'm not going to talk about the good stinky rule because that's going to be one of our questions. A designer, that's a positive word. Scary stepladder is negative. We come over here, a model, that's positive. And well-behaved, that's a positive word there. All was ready. Photographers took pictures, that's positive. For a fashion magazine, that's positive as well. We come over here, money, that's a positive thing. Modeling, positive. Donated, positive. Refuges, that's a positive word. They're going to make like a sanctuary, place for elephants to run around, and Serengeti Plain. There you have it. That is the good stinky rule. Remember, the good stinky rule says the author has some kind of a tone on the passage, and they're going to use words to illustrate that. We know right away it says elegant animals. Right away, elegant is positive word for sure. So the tone of the passage is positive. Using the good stinky rule for problem number 6. We scroll on down and we finally look at that word we were talking about, gigantic. It's number 7. In this paragraph, the word gigantic on line 4 means what? Well, a couple things that we can do here when we answer this particular question. We read the sentence. The sentence said, they even included gigantic earrings and shoes. Even included, that means it's an addition to what they did here. So I read the sentence above, and the sentence above said the designers made oversized outfits. So oversized is going to say basically the same thing as gigantic. See what we just did there? We connected the dots. So gigantic means large. We go over here, we look at the answer choices and start crossing stuff out. Process of elimination. I usually do a double pass, kids. So A says vast. Vast and oversized. Nope. Vast means like a piece of land maybe. It's not really referring to people or animals, so that would be out. Great, tiny, or enormous. Great and oversized. I feel like great is a positive word. Doesn't really great's not the greatest word to put in there for like big stuff. Tiny is opposite, so that's going to be wrong. And D says enormous. Enormous is going to be a Scooby-Doo rewording for gigantic. It's a vocabulary word, and also it's going to basically be a Scooby-Doo rewording for what they said over here, which is the word oversized. Let's take a look at the next problem. We scroll on down and take a look at problem number 8. It's the last problem. It's a cultural coding problem again, kids. 8. Cultural coding is taking information that we have learned somewhere else in our life and applying it to a new situation, such as a reading passage. In this case, we're dealing with elegant animals. Those elegant animals are going to be large elephants that are getting dressed up by fashion designers. Here it says, what other possible problems could the photographer have faced when taking photos of the animals? Well, 1, the flash. The flash could bug the animal's eyes. 2, the animal could have gotten scared. 3, the animal is big. Where are you going to take, do you have a photo studio that's big enough to fit an elephant in there? If you have a big photo studio to get the elephant in there, is the door big enough? There's all kinds of ways that we could come up with cultural coding. Think about it. An elephant is big. A photographer is going to take pictures. Are they going to do it outdoors? Well, if they do it outdoors, well, you got to make sure that it's not raining. You got to make sure that the light is correct. You got to make sure that there's not a bunch of people freaking the animal out. People are going to, hey, there's an elephant. Mom, look, elephants. Let's go over there. Kids making noise. It's going to scare the elephant. The elephant's going to knock stuff over. Those are potential problems using cultural coding for problem number 8. There you have it. It is the particular lesson that we've done here is cultural coding, lesson 5, homework number 2. We will see you in the next video, kids. Bye for now.